Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. Can I get a one if you guys can hear me okay? I think I'm good on sound tonight, but just let me know if I'm in here like swimwear. Thank you so much, Burzan. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. And I hope that everyone's having a really great day so far. Tonight, we're going to be discussing Jimmy Butler's request out of Miami, as well as the Celtics versus the Timberwolves game, where Ant Man had a very dismal performance. But before we get into all of this, please do me a favor and smash the like button and share the stream if you can. I do I do really want to thank everyone for joining me tonight and being a part of this stream. Do me a favor and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. But seriously, thank you guys for being here tonight. I do want to go ahead and quickly shout out the members who have generously joined and donated to the channel as well. One second. I see lots of engagement in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming in, ready to rock and roll. I love it. Okay, so first I want to shout out a brand new member, Tom Smithers. Thank you so much for joining as an all-star. Then we have Zeno Omega, Kurt Nishimura, Raymond Chambers, Eden Jr., Danny Season, Debo4735, Jason Williams, Sports Facts, Jamie Costello, Coach Marcus, Silvio Manuel, Lester's Banana, Wise Guy 23, Leon Jones, Right Hand Cam, Main Event, Brown B, Ill Will 42, Kedrian Hardy, William Wright, Lewis Matthews, Charles Hookah, Lisa Taylor, Brenda, Meg XD, Reginald McLendon, Panama 135, V Dub, Saeed Gore, Spurs Ann, Ron C23, Blanco Smoke, T Bert the Twin, Relax and Focus, WW, KM, Big Al Master Chief, Jeffrey Guyett, Christopher Baldwin, and It's Not That Serious. Thank you so much for joining. And you guys really just help the channel to continue to grow and to expand. Thank you all so much. Now, let's see who's in the chat. Who's all here tonight? Marvin Segovia. Yes, you are in the building. Welcome in. Frankie Fernandez. Shout out to you. Gabe Moore. How are you? Ace of Rage. Shout out to all the moderators who are here as well. You guys hold me down. I really, really, really appreciate you guys. So, salute to you. Push. Shout out to Harlem. I hope you had a really happy holiday. Long time no see. Lee Kinney. Spurs Ann, thank you so much for being here. Wise Guy 23, salute to you. That man, howdy. We have Marvelous here. You say Jimmy for Beal? I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know about that. Grape Tea News, salute to you. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Grape Tea News already, go ahead and check out their channel. They have amazing content surrounding current events. So definitely go over there, like, share, and subscribe. Mark Jag. I agree, and we'll get into that. Afro Universe, nice to see you. Nick T, salute. MJ the GOAT 23. Jimmy's thinking he's a franchise top 10 caliber type of player. Send his ass to Washington. Okay, guys. So to kick off the first topic, I'm sure you guys are all aware of the trade rumors surrounding Jimmy Butler and, Pat Riley asserting that he wasn't going to trade him. I mean, at this point, he's saying he's not going to trade him, right? So that's what Pat Riley is asserting at the moment. And I mean, Sham Charania was accused of lying. He was looking crazy as hell last week, defending his report that Jimmy Butler has requested a trade. And, just over the past few days that this situation has continued to develop, it's been made clear that Jimmy's relationship with the Miami Heat organization has totally soured and he wants out of there. Tonight, I'm going to take you all on a trip down memory lane so that we're all on the same page about how this may have started and where things got a little murky between Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley specifically. For those who have not heard tonight's soundbite from Jimmy after a dismal performance where he basically threw the game and was benched in the fourth quarter, I'm going to play it for us now and then we'll go ahead and react.
When do you feel like your role in the offense changed, and what has been the toughest adjustment to that change?
It's not a tough adjustment to me. I'm going out there to compete to win either way. Whether I score 9 points or 29 points, I will compete. That's one thing that I will say. So you won't say that I'm out there not playing hard. It may look like that because my usage is down and I don't shoot the ball a lot, but we won't sit here and say that I don't play hard.
What will fix it? What do you want to see happen to fix it?
What do I want to see happen? I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball. And wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to joy back. I'm happy here, off the court. But I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop. And I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
Okay, so salute to you, Push, for the $9.99 super chat. I really appreciate it. NBA viewership is down 53% and counting. Physicality and defense has no choice but to return. I couldn't agree more. That is excellent on target comment. Thank you so much and salute to you again for the $9.99 super chat. I'm assuming that the Heat not offering Jimmy Butler an extension this past summer is clearly causing the big problem for Jimmy and affecting his behavior and his quote unquote joy. So, it's affecting his behavior, it's affecting his play on the court. He's either deciding to play like shit or this is truly impacting his mental health and ability to give each game his very best. That makes me sad, quite frankly, because I expect more from Jimmy Butler, especially as a veteran in this league, a player who's already 35 years old. I expect him to be more professional than this. NBA fans don't need to know that you're unhappy with the Heat organization because they don't want to give you an extension making $50 million a year. He's open to playing for any organization because Pat Riley is unwilling to bankrupt their organization. Why do players think that they should be paid extraordinary contracts past their prime? I mean, the entitlement is laughable and crazy to me. Like completely crazy to me. I want everyone, like what I want to do right now is I want to take everyone back to this past summer, back in June. Jimmy Butler, he was injured and he put his foot in his mouth, making inappropriate comments about teams in the league when he wasn't even available to play. I want to play this soundbite for you guys. It's very short, but I want everyone to hear this so that it's all clear to us and we can understand the tension between Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley.
Video this. You got it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, action. If I was playing, Boston would be at home. New York, damn sure would be fucking at home. Josh Hart. What that mean to me? Josh Hart. Yo. I love Tiz, but I don't want to. I love Tiz. I love you, baby. I want to beat you to a pulp. You want me, I don't want you. It's like a one-sided relationship. You in love with me, and I love you, but I'm not in love with you. You know what I'm saying? Love, brother.
Oh boy. I mean, we have no idea what would have happened last summer. And when this happened, I thought it was funny. I chuckled. Jimmy Butler, I think that he's a big troll sometimes, but I also, this the athlete in him, the godlike persona in him, I think he was dead serious. And, I can't stand when players project what would have happened. What I always like to say when people go on and on about what they would have done, I say, shoulda, coulda, woulda, houlda. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, houlda. It just doesn't matter. You weren't playing. Keep your mouth shut. I know you're probably like you had a feeling of missing out. Just say that. Say you were experiencing FOMO. Just say that you wish that you were available to compete and help your team win. But trying to insult players, teams, and coaches that were available to play and healthy enough to put their game on display, that's disgusting. Pat Riley didn't like it either. He was asked about it after their team's exit from the postseason, and here's what he had to say.
It said, if he was healthy, that Boston would have gone home. I know it's tough to live in hypotheticals, but if he was able to play and Terry was able to play, did you feel like the gulf has gotten way too big with you in Boston, or if you had your guys, it might have been more competitive?
We played, I've been involved in competition and playoffs against certain opponents that turned into hate, even since we've been here, I hate to use that word, but the competition gets so tough that you don't like one another. And so we played Boston 4 times, I think, in the playoffs since Jimmy's been here. So, you do develop some dislike for the other team, but they are this year, I think, the best team in the league, with the best roster in the league. They made some great moves. Brad Stevens did a great job in getting Holiday and Porzingis. They built their bench a little bit differently. And, for him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut in your criticism of those teams.
You give
Yikes. I couldn't agree more. Keep your mouth shut, Jimmy Butler. Even to troll is inappropriate in this case. He should have been focused on his extension and figuring out how to make his relationship with Pat Riley stronger. Pat Riley is so disappointed in this clip, and I watched it. He had the same look of disgust when he heard LeBron come out and say, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7 rings with the Miami Heat. He said he wasn't sure if he was trolling or if he's serious. But he just felt like he should have been focused on getting healthy and being on the damn court. Players are lacking professionalism, and that's the biggest issue that I have with Jimmy Butler and players that are messy in the media. I don't think it's funny, and it shows a major lack of maturity and begs the question, why would owners want to pay players max dollars that have this kind of conduct? It completely lacks professionalism. Inside the NBA reacts to Jimmy Butler's awful performance and his lack of joy comments post-game. So we'll listen to that and we'll react to it.
And just to dovetail on that soundbite, here's Shams Charania. Jimmy Butler has indicated to the Heat he wants the team to trade him. He's open to playing anywhere other than
That's one of the worst kept
Miami.
secrets in the world.
Yeah.
Like this thing been over.
Why you say that been over?
Well, it's been over. So the situation is this.
Okay.
Pat Riley, who's arguably the greatest ever, he's not going to pay Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's upset. Jimmy has like a $55 million option for next year.
Oh, that's not bad.
I know that.
It's not bad money if you can get it.
It was great money, but he wants an extension. Pat Riley let Dwayne Wade go past his prime. He's not going to pay Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's mad. He can get mad. But this relationship has been over. It's been over for, I think, some of the stuff they said after last season. So this is one of the worst kept secrets. Now they just got to get a deal. This relationship is over. Because he's not going to get an extension. Plain and simple.
So you see the joy is money related. That's what you
100%.
Okay.
Well, I know from personal experience you can't bicker with Pat Riley. So if Jimmy wants to trade, he'll definitely be traded. I agree with Chuck. I don't know about the contract. I don't want to talk about people's contracts, but Pat Riley runs the ship there, him and Mickey. So Jimmy wants to be traded, and he said publicly he's not happy there. Pat Riley would definitely oblige him.
Yeah, I think from a basketball standpoint, let's start there, Ernie. I think Jimmy Butler had been what, when you have to hear that phrase, the heartbeat of a team. Here's how the team played. They played inside the paint, out. They were one of a few teams that just didn't rely 100% on the three-point shooting. That's why even guys like Tyler Hero's trend, his path has been a little bit slower because they played through Jimmy. And, it's hard. It's always hard for like guys, let's say I was a starter, but not a star, meaning on the team, the best player. To hear a guy who is getting all the shots, all the minutes, and all the money, then say, I don't have the joy. That's hard to understand. So if I have to maybe think that it's what you're saying.
100%. You know what it is? Klay Thompson. It's 100 the same situation as Klay Thompson. The Warrior says, Klay, you've been great, great, great.
But we can't keep going.
We can't pay you for what you used to be. Pat Riley has made a decision. Jimmy got one more year for $55 million. He wants an extension. Pat Riley let Dwayne Wade go. This is the exact same situation, in my opinion, with Klay Thompson. They made a business decision. He made the same business decision with Klay Thompson they did in Golden State. Pat made the same decision with Dwayne Wade. He's making the same decision with Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy's upset. And what Jimmy's going to have to do is start packing this stuff up.
He's 35 years old. He can still help.
At what price?
Where's the good?
At what price?
No, I know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
talent-wise, skill-wise,
but hold on,
heart-wise,
let me ask you a question.
where would be a good landing spot?
Well, that's the problem. Because he's going to want to be extended.
And he should be. And let me tell you what, there's a lot of bums out there making way more than him. So if we're going to talk the money game, that's how.
But wait, hold on. He's probably in the top 15 to 20.
It doesn't matter.
Do you extend him? Hold on.
If a bum is making 30, I want 100.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if Jimmy was in his prime, which he's right in the going to be older, do you pay him $60, $70 million going forward? That's the decision you have to make as a team.
So would you give Jimmy Butler, you're the Miami Heat, a 3-year extension at $60 million apiece, $180 million?
I would have a conversation with him. And Pat is the guy to have that conversation with. When I was up for my extension, supposed to get 25, Pat came to me and said, I would love to give you the 25, but if you take 20, I can bring in Antoine, I can bring in GP, I can bring in White Chocolate, and we can win. I decided to take less money than I was able to win. Obviously, they can't have that conversation. So I would definitely have the conversation with him out of respect, and then a decision.
And the taxes in Miami are a little bit different. So if you're actually making more money when you make.
But like I say, this is nothing new. Pat Riley gonna do what's best for the Miami Heat. He let the great Dwayne Wade go.
I I think that Charles Barkley is right, and I also think that Shaquille O'Neal is right. When it comes to the contracts and money, I think that players should get paid. And Shaquille O'Neal has a point. If someone's a bum getting paid however much, or the contract looks similar to Jimmy Butler should be able to command more money. Now, Pat Riley's job is to make sure that the organization is making good deals. So just because Pat Riley is unwilling to pay Jimmy a certain amount of money doesn't mean that Jimmy doesn't deserve it. It just means that he has to go elsewhere to get it, and that's okay. It's okay if the relationship between him and the Heat are over. I fully expect Jimmy Butler to be a professional about it. And the way that he has carried himself, the distraction that this has given to the Miami Heat, the players, the coaching, I just think it's totally disrespectful to their franchise that he's been with for several seasons now, that he's gone to the finals with. It affects the team. Last week, he made comments that he liked the trade rumors. Basically, he liked his name being in people's mouths. That's what he was saying. These things are annoying to your teammates. These things it's not conducive to team play at all. It's not conducive to everybody showing up every day and putting their best on the floor. So, no, I don't think that, Jimmy Butler is bashing the organization blatantly, but he is creating distractions, and some people would say that he's actually not creating a distraction. He's being asked these questions, asked and answered, right? But he's not helping to diffuse any of this drama. He is a leader on the Miami Heat team. He is their star player. His conduct is inappropriate, to say the least. As the team leader, you are a distraction for the entire team. I manage a team of people, and I just can't possibly, when it comes to conflict resolution, my job is to help diffuse. I might not be able to control every problem. I might not be able to stop every issue from, occurring, but my job is to diffuse the issue. And if I'm seen as someone that can't diffuse and can't, figure out how to make things better, but I'm adding to the problem and I'm amplifying and I'm magnifying it, I don't really need to be in that role. I don't really need to be a leader, especially not a leader of people. So, I'm disappointed in Jimmy Butler for his behavior. Do I think that he deserves $50 million? Yes. Do I think that he deserves it from the Heat? Not if they're not willing to pay it. Not if they have a different plan and vision for their organization, the future of that organization, and they no longer see it being feasible to pay Jimmy Butler and contend for a title. So if I'm an owner and I want to win, and that's the focus that I have because I have someone like Bam Adebayo on my team, and all I need is another guard and a good wing, why would I give Jimmy Butler that extension? Why wouldn't I try to give him a contract that is more suitable for where he's at in his waning career at the age of 35? So like I said, Jimmy Butler, he's not helping to diffuse any of the drama. He's only adding fuel to the fire. He has the right to leave. He's under contract. Play out your contract and leave if that's what you want to do. We don't need to hear about it. He's literally adding fuel to the fire, and it's unprofessional. I would be extremely turned off if I'm the other organizations throughout the league. Pat Riley is running a good organization. So if you act out because you are no longer a max player for the organization and you're unwilling to take less money as your career is waning, then you finish your contract professionally You don't publicly ask for trades and all this nonsense. Miami Heat and Pat Riley haven't done anything wrong. They build good teams, they have a stellar coach, and Jimmy Butler is being unprofessional. He's not entitled to a max contract or an extension. Be an adult, play out your contract that you agreed to. I cannot express how disappointed I am in Jimmy Butler. And the Inside NBA guys, they got it right. I mean, they got the discussion right. He's unhappy because of his money. And you're rich. You are filthy rich. Why are you unhappy? What are you moping about? You're unhappy. Your joy is gone. Love for the game does not tie back to money. And everybody knows that. I would want Jimmy Butler far away from my franchise, quite frankly. And, I hope for just the state of the union for the Miami Heat that Jimmy Butler is traded after his conduct. I do. I hope that he's traded, and I hope that the Miami Heat look to the free agency market and see, what they can pick up. I don't know. I almost think that maybe they don't trade him, hold on to him, and let him make himself look bad. If they're not gonna get a good deal for him, don't play him, bench him. But I wouldn't take on another player's bad contract mid-season because another team needs to move off of it. Just because Jimmy Butler doesn't have, enjoyment. Please, grow up, Jimmy Butler. Be an adult. So, after all of what we just discussed, it does beg the question, what's the problem in Miami? I'll be honest, I don't think there is a problem in Miami. Jimmy Butler is not the problem talent-wise. His conduct is a problem. To me, he is completely violating the business code of ethics for the Miami Heat organization. But he's not the problem from a talent perspective. From a talent perspective, he's also not the solution, given his aging status, given his waning career. He's not a $50 million player anymore from what we're seeing. His career is waning, and he's delusional if he can't see that based on his history of injuries. Now, can he pick up $50 million from another team? Potentially. Why not? Does he deserve it? Sure. I think players should make as much money as they possibly can. I'm not here to say don't give them money. But I do want to know what you guys think. What is the problem in Miami? I'll read some comments before we move on to the next topic. Pat Riley, Jimmy is open to any team. Okay, sending him to Portland. Ha ha ha. That is funny. Imagine that. Portland, he'd be going to Portland to die, basically. He took them to 2 finals in 5 years. I absolutely. That doesn't mean that you're paying like ownerships, organizations, they don't pay for past performance. They pay for, what you're doing now and what you can do, or, what they foresee that you're able to do in the future. And so the future looks bleak when you're paying $50+ million for talent that's waning. So for talent that is going to continue to develop and grow, yes, I'm going to want to spend. People don't realize, people think Pat Riley and they just think Hollywood, they think of the Lakers, they think of the Knicks. Miami Heat is a small organization. They're not trying to do all this luxury tax crap that the Lakers do and New York City does. Like, they don't They're a small market team. They're trying to they need to make really smart strategic decisions with their rosters and their contracts in order for them to be successful. His joy is gone. Boo-hoo. These stars are too spoiled. I agree. They're definitely spoiled. And again, I want to be clear that players deserve the money. The NBA is a very corrupt place, and it's not a free market. In a free market, players like Steph Curry, star players should be making $500 million on their teams. They're not. They're still not necessarily making enough money. I know $50 million a year, $55 million a year. These are huge numbers to, the everyday person like you and, like you and me. But, these players, yes, they're making more money than ever, but it's still not quite where it needs to be. And they're in like these golden handcuffs. They're still in shackles because NBA players today, they're still the players and never the owners. They're being held back, they're being held down by institutional racism that keeps them out of ownership. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic and live show. But Pat's going clean house like a mofo. I don't know if he's looking to blow up the team. I don't. I think that he's potentially looking for Jimmy Butler to play out his contract and bring on another star. Jimmy's 35, Riley's not extending him. Absolutely not. And everybody knew that. It wasn't surprising when they announced it this summer. It wasn't surprising that, Jimmy Butler might not be happy about that either. Players want they want money. That's what they want. This is why they play in the NBA. But all the years that you've been earning your paychecks, I mean, that's what you're owed. You're owed the paychecks and the contracts that you agreed to. You're not owed anything else. You're not owed another contract. The league started declining since LeBron a decision when he said not one, not two. He really believed that because Bron knew he had stacked the deck with a super team and really thought it was going to be easy. Jeannie Bubblehead will pay it. Look, she probably will. I bet, Jeannie Buss would probably pay big money for Jimmy Butler. And LeBron would sign off on that, right? He would go and tell her to do it. Salute TMD. Nice to see you in the chat. I blame Rachel Nichols for hyping this man up, had him thinking he was that dude. Facts. I mean, Rachel Nichols, she's an interesting person. Pat Riley, don't be messing around. Mickey gave Pat the keys to the team. You know who runs Miami. That's a fact. Tyler Herro is a scrub. He'll have 2 big games a year, both regular season, and play 0 defense the rest of the time. Yeah, I don't think Tyler Herro kind of reminds me of Trae Young a bit. He is small, and yeah, I don't really think much of him. So, the difference between him and Trae Young is that Trae Young is balling this season, really leading his team in a different way, and I'm very proud of how his game has developed. So, Tyler Herro, I like I said, I don't think much of him. I think that he's a regular season star as well and doesn't show up for the postseason or just flat out isn't available to play during the playoffs. Grape tea. I'm weak. What's in Shaq's throat? You guys are funny. Okay, so we've talked about Jimmy, and now we need to get into one of the best games played tonight between Boston and Minnesota. So, that's our next topic for the night. Boston versus Minnesota. The Celtics are a great team, and they are the defending champs. I'm really excited to see if they can repeat. They've had some weird inconsistencies this season. And, I want to jump into the breakdown of this game briefly with you guys so that we can see what I was impressed by, but you can also see what I was not so impressed by. So let's just go ahead and jump into the team stats so we can take a look. Okay. So as you can see, the Celtics took almost 63 point shots. Jason Tatum took 17, and he was 6 of 17 from 3. That is just god awful and disgusting. He took a total of 27 shots in the game to deliver his 33 points tonight. Jaylen Brown was not playing, so I understand needing to step up offensively and take that many shots. I also like that Jason Tatum specifically asked for the assignment of guarding Anthony Edwards. I absolutely love it. That level of competing, it makes my heart sing. Because obviously Tatum was a DMP in the Olympics. They didn't play him, right? He was a DMP in the Olympics where Ant-Man saw much more playing time than Tatum did coming off of, winning the title last season. So he's got a lot to prove this season. None of these guys are better. And whether so yes, Tatum is looking to prove that none of these guys that were played over him are better, right? Whether we believe that or not doesn't matter. Tatum needs to carry himself that way and create those narratives to fire himself up to compete. So I'm here for it. Not only did Ant-Man look pedestrian tonight, his stat line was awful. Let's go ahead and take a look at the box score. I mean, when you look at this box score, we saw that Julius Randle was the leading scorer over Ant-Man. That's an issue to me. They both took the same amount of shots, 16 shots. Randle is very ball dominant, and he will dribble his way into the team losing. Minnesota lost the trade, period. Randle was addition by subtraction for the Knicks, so they could have gotten nothing in return for Randle and still have been better off because that's what we saw last season. Randle helps you lose games. He doesn't help you win games. But seriously, Ant-Man, 5 of 16. Look at this. 2 of 9 from 3. This is nasty work. Totally nasty. This is going to this is just not going to help the Timberwolves get back to the conference finals. They are not going to contend. Not like this. Not playing like this. The Inside the NBA crew, they also had a lot to say about it. So we'll listen to it and then we'll react and open up the phone lines.
Why is it that Minnesota is where they are right now? I'm not saying it's a bad year. They're 17 and 15 right now. But when you compare this team that you're watching to the one we saw last year that was 30 games over 500, what are you seeing?
Night and day. It's night and day because they really miss Cat.
Really?
They really miss Cat. You see, the Knicks have won 9-0. Cat's on fire right now. But number one, when Rudy Gobert is in the game, they're playing 5-on-4. But Rudy's not scored. But the one thing that's hurt, they really have screwed up Nas Reed because he's not getting any shots at all, basically, because Julius Randle is a good player, but he's so ball dominant. And he gonna get his shot, and he's not worried about anything else. And I actually think Anthony Edwards, in my opinion, has regressed because he's become an outside shooter. He's not aggressive like he was last year. and you can look at those numbers right there and say he's averaging 19 points. In my opinion, it's not a good 19. In my opinion,
But how is Anthony Edwards regressed?
because he's taking too many threes. In my opinion,
Way too many.
he's taking because Ernie, when he's such a terrific player, if you guard him, you want him shooting threes because if he's going to the basket, he's dunking on people. He's getting you in foul trouble. He's getting you in the penalty sooner. When he shoots threes, even though he make them, think about this, Ernie. The one game we watched him earlier this year, he came out and made like 6 threes the first quarter. And I said, I hate the way he's playing, even though he made 6. But the defense is like, they end up losing that game. Well, first of all, no disrespect. He shouldn't even be on this list. Let's stop it.
That's just one of those curious things. His first 8 games against the Celtics, he's had at least 20.
And I told you.
And it gets Shaq on a list.
Yes, that's my point. All those other guys in the Hall of Fame. One thing we do on television that's so stupid. Like last year, we said this dude like Michael Jordan. They just both black. He's not Michael Jordan, and I think he's a great kid. And he got a chance of being a great player. But I personally think he's regressed and become a jump shooter. He's not aggressive. He's going to have to become more of a leader. When you have a breakout, it doesn't get easier; it gets harder. But like I say, I think Julius Randle's game is really hurt Naz Reid. But I think the biggest issue is Rudy is just not a scorer, Ernie. And you're playing 5-on-4. And you don't have to think about this. Cat, you have to play Cat out to the 3-point line. You don't have to do that with Rudy. And so Anthony, he's selling for jump shots, and he's really playing 5-on-4. He's playing.
I would agree with Chuck 100%. And we talked about that comparison last year that people were saying Michael Jordan. Well, there's a quote I do remember Michael talking about when he hit the 7 threes. He says, "That's not my game because it takes me out of attack mode." He says, and so when Anthony Edwards is in attack mode,
that's when he's at his best.
What happens is the weak side defenders are now playing defense. When he's shooting threes, the weak side defenders, the guys who's guarding the guys on the other side of the floor, get the rest. But when he's driving the basket, you gotta go help. He kicks it. Now you gotta sprint back out. He creates so much havoc. So I would agree with Chuck. When he turns back into the attacker and not the shooter, that's when he's going to be different.
And to add on to that, we anointed him as great. But if you want to become greater, you have to show a little bit more consistency. And I have to agree with Chuck. By him just stepping out there and shooting threes, he's digressed. Once he get back to mixing his game up, he will become a great player.
Can I ask you a question, a trivia question that you have absolutely no shot at?
What's that?
Okay, Julius Randle.
Yes.
Double figures in all 32 of the games he's played with Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who's got the record for Minnesota?
Doug West.
Most double-digit games to start your career.
I'm just going to say Doug.
Kevin Love.
He looked.
J.R. Ryder.
Try Tony Campbell with 90.
Tony Campbell.
How about that?
Right? New York City. Ohio State, right?
New York City.
He played for the Lakers too, didn't he?
He's 25. Don't start snitching.
Back with more TNT NBA tip-off presented by CarMax in just a minute. But before we go, listen up. Coming up, we have a huge announcement from Chuck and Kenny with FanDuel.
Yes.
Ant-Man has regressed, guys. There's no doubt about it. He regressed the moment that the Michael Jordan comparisons came in last season. When they were eliminated by Luka and the Mavs and completely taken out of their game because they couldn't defend the way that they wanted to, he was like totally torched by Kyrie Irving almost immediately after talking all that shit about killing everything, right? They swept the Phoenix Sun. That was incredible. They pushed past the Nuggets. It was a great title run. I love Anthony Edwards' game, but not so much this season. The flurry of three-point shooting that he's been participating in is just awful. I have to say. We want to see him get downhill. It seems like he's trying to avoid injury, and it seems like he wants to bomb threes to score and be a leader in three-point shooting. I think it's awful, period. Anthony Edwards has regressed. We saw it even in the Olympics. He didn't play that well. He said that he was the number one option on that team. And in 2 games, he played really well, and the other games, he played like poop. And it is what it is. I mean, then we fast forward to this season, and we have him paired with a ball-dominant Julius Randle. Timberwolves are going nowhere fast. And the three-point shooting is not the answer at all. Anthony Edwards needs to take better shots. He needs to get in the lane more. And he needs to be the Anthony Edwards that we all fell in love with. He needs to find a way to get back to an inside-out game because this is not working. It's not working for their team, and he's looking really bad out there. He went from being in MVP conversations to this. Not impressive. And, I'm rooting for Anthony Edwards. I thought it was funny that Shaq said, I'm sorry, Charles Barkley said the only thing that is like him and Michael Jordan is that they're both black. I mean, look, last year there were similarities in their game. There were similarities in their game. This season, there are none. It was not just the play style from last season that everybody liked. It was the accountability. It was post-game, him putting all the blame on himself after a loss. It was, it was just the will to compete. The way that he said that, he wanted to kill everything in front of him. He wanted to kill the competition in front of him. Those kinds of things, it brings us back to a really great time in basketball, the Kobes, the Jordans that played our game. So, Anthony Edwards, I agree with the Inside NBA crew that he has regressed. I believe that he needs to mix up his game. I'm not saying don't take any three-point shots, but the amount of which that he's taking and not making is an issue. You're not hot from 3, find another way to score. You have to find different ways to score when your shots are not falling. So that's my issue right now with Anthony Edwards. I want to see him go back to getting downhill much more, and I want him to flip his game. This isn't a good brand of basketball, and they're not winning. So they don't have a good record, and yeah, I mean, they're not looking like they're even gonna make the playoffs this season. But what do you guys think? Has Ant-Man regressed from last year? Where are you guys at with this? I'll read some comments, and then I'll open up the phone lines. Salute to you, no prisoners. Hey, Dom, sup? Great game. Ant-Man gonna have games where he's not gonna play well. Same with Tatum. Both players are the best on their teams, though. LBJ, 36 points. GOAT James. Bronny will be a star in the NBA. Real talk. The James boys. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think that Bronny, his stardom is being manufactured right now. He dropped down to the G League. He couldn't buy a shot, and now all of a sudden they're pretty much forming the offense around him. So he's being highlighted in the offense where, pretty much nobody's being given the ball. He's taking like 30 shots a game, and he's not being guarded. It almost seems like the opposition is being paid off to literally get out of his way. So it's a little difficult for me to agree that Bronny's going to be a star. I think that he's an influencer. I think that he's a star for sure, just not a basketball star. And LeBron James is I'm tired of talking about LeBron James. But I agree with you that Ant-Man and Tatum are going to have bad games, but Ant-Man's having a bad stretch, and there's a difference. So he's having a bad stretch where he's shooting an influx of three-point shots, and he's not making them. So that's the problem. He is a great player, and I think he's going to find his way, and he's going to figure out a balance between 3-point shooting and an inside game. And I'm excited to see that. But I do think that he's the key. He's the key to, uh, the Timberwolves having a better season. But thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. Who do I have on the line? Caller from California. Caller from California, can you hear me? Alrighty, hold on. Don't hang up. Don't hang up, okay? I'm just reconnecting the sound in the Bluetooth. Caller from California, are you there?
Hey, Miss Dom, I'm here.
Hey, Kelly, what's going on, big dog? Did you enjoy the games tonight?
I missed the second game because I had to go to the gym. Because New Year's is packing these places up. But I saw the first game for sure.
That's awesome. So let me just jump right to it. Let me ask you, has Ant-Man has his game regressed from last year? What are your thoughts?
I do think Ant-Man's game has regressed, but I couldn't exactly tell you the reason why. Charles Barkley says it's the amount of threes, or that's what Kenny said, right? Because he's not in attack mode shooting threes, but it's so hard to tell. Like, this team it's so perplexing in my opinion. So I just really wanted to ask you in specific, because you're obviously a Knicks fan. I thought Karl Anthony Towns, I thought he wasn't the greatest, quote unquote center. Even though he's playing power forward next to Gobert, but I always thought he had some defensive lapses and all. And we saw what happened to him against Dallas in the conference finals. PJ Washington and Lively and Gafford were hounding that dude. My stocks for Karl Anthony Towns really went down after that playoff series. He was really struggling. So let me get to the question. How did you feel about as the Knicks getting Karl Anthony Towns to your team before you saw any results? How did you feel about it when it happened?
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about this when the trade happened. I talked about it in length. I thought that both teams. I thought it was a bad trade for both teams. I thought that they both got like the same exact thing, a first round knockout. Karl Anthony Towns, he's made 2 playoff appearances. The first one was a first round knockout. I remember Pat Bev being a part of that. It was hilarious the way he was jumping, on the tables, after making it out of that play-in, and then he was
The play-in, yeah.
quickly, traded from that team. But I didn't think it was a good trade. There had been, I think, for more than a season since Jalen Brunson went to the Knicks, it was rumored that Karl Anthony Towns was going there. That's who they were targeting. They were targeting Karl Anthony Towns or Giannis. And I was hoping and praying for Giannis over Karl Anthony Towns. And then a season went by and nothing happened. They couldn't move Julius Randle. And, I was worried that we wouldn't be able to move his contract because he's not good. And, he sat out the postseason. He was injured. Um, you know, and now he's come back from Minnesota and he's had some good games, and he's going to have games like that. Julius Randle is going to he can score the ball. He's just not a winner. He doesn't play winning basketball. He dribbles a lot. He turns the ball over a bit, especially down the stretch. Um, so I was a fan of Randall being traded, but I was never a fan of Karl Anthony Towns. I thought that he was going to waste the Knicks' time. I wasn't sure if they were bringing him in as center or power forward. I don't
Same.
think that he was prior to seeing him play, I'm like, he's not a rim protector. He has no defense. He's not going to really be much for our team. But I thought he's an addition because we don't have Julius Randle. So whatever we got is fine in a sense, because Julius Randle was hurting the team. So as long as the Knicks is playing, as long as the Knicks essentially can have some pieces around Karl Anthony Towns that can defend, they can go deep. Do they have enough to win a title? Do I think that Karl Anthony Towns is a winner on a contending team? No, I do not. I have not seen that. There's no evidence of that. His play style, even right now. So now I'm going to fast forward to what he's doing. I still don't know that the Knicks can win a title just because Karl Anthony Towns is playing well during the regular season. He oftentimes plays well during the regular season. My dislike for him is what he has done in the postseason. He can't defend. He gets beat up on. He looks soft. He plays like shit in the postseason. That's what I've seen. When it matters, when it counts, he does not show up. He does not step up. He gets fouled out. This is not someone that I really
Oh
want on the
yes. Mhm.
Knicks, but Coach Thibodeau, he's different. And I think that he's playing differently under Tibbs. I think that he's playing better than what I expected. He is more aggressive. He's asserting himself. He's asserting his will. He's getting more aggressive. He's, going into the paint more. He's not just a perimeter player. So I'm proud of him. And I do think that he's playing very well. And I look forward to seeing more of this in the postseason. That's what I want to see. Karl Anthony Towns is going to be a huge unlock for the Knicks, because if his size is not going to be utilized in the postseason, then they will not. They'll be out in the first round, depending on who they get.
Ooh, the first round. That's bold, Dom.
If they
That's
get
real bold.
Cleveland, you have to think the East is very stacked. So you have Cleveland, you have the Bucks, you have the Cavs, and you have the Knicks. Those 4 teams. If any of those teams are facing each other in the first round, one of the best teams in the East is knocked out in the first round. So,
I don't
that's
think that's
just what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the
okay.
matchups in the East, because the East is very tough right now.
You're right. The East is tough. I think all 4 of those teams. I don't know about Milwaukee because where they're sitting, how they started their season, but I think all 4 of those teams could easily start out, seeds 1 through 4. So I think they could avoid that. So it could be a second round, but we'll see. But yeah, I agree with you. Cat, in my opinion, he looks reborn on these Knicks. I'm just like, what is going on? But you're right. We got to see how that looks come the postseason. And then to tie this all back, to the Wolves, I don't know how the Wolves changed this much by getting rid of Towns. Like we just went over all of his, deficiencies and his weaknesses, right? But yet he's like the only missing piece from last year's team. That was a gritty defensive minded team, with Alexander Walker and McDaniels, all these defenders, right? So they just lose Towns, and now they're a struggling team with Randall. He's okay, he's still a little bit inefficient, whatever. But they still got DiVincenzo, who's trying to find his way, trying to get his shots, because he had some he got the touches today and he did pretty well. But point being, this Wolves team minus Towns, it just looks like a totally different team. It doesn't make sense to me. It's weird. It doesn't make sense,
Yeah. No, I'm here for, honestly, I can't believe they made that trade. Why the hell would you trade Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle? Like, who the fuck is Julius Randle? Seriously. I just, he's not good.
Randall,
They gave up their chemistry. They had chemistry with Karl Anthony Towns. They loved him. They were a team. You don't give up. You don't trade somebody that helped you get to the Western Conference Final, a place that you've never been since Kevin Garnett was on the team. It's ridiculous to me that they would make that decision, and it's disappointing. So, Timberwolves have put themselves in a bad place. The organization did that, and now Anthony Edwards is helping them to complete the train wreck that they have become in this season. So, Kelly, thank you so much for your call today. I really appreciate you. Great takes, great question. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the next live.
Well, thanks a lot for the kind comments, Ms. Dom. Always try to ask some questions to you because there's a lot of topics that I like to get. Every now and then I try to get a little piece of your takes. From stuff that we don't always get to hear. So thanks again, Ms. Dom, and
Thank you
enjoy the rest
so
of the show.
much. You too. Bye-bye. Caller from Chicago, thank you for calling Sports Tea. Who do I have on the line? Talk to me nice.
Hey, Dominique, this is Nate.
Hey, Nate. Talk to me nice.
How you doing?
So what do you think? Maybe we go back to the last topic. We talked about Jimmy Butler. We talked about Ant-Man. What do you think is the problem in Miami?
I think it's two
Okay.
problems. One problem, in my opinion, I believe that Pat Riley really didn't build up his team once they went to the finals and lost. I don't think he put in key players in there to help him win, because Tyler Hero, he's a liability on defense. They was lacking defense. And Jimmy Butler, I don't know, it started from Chicago Bulls days. To me, Jimmy Butler never was the type of player to be the man of the team. He was like a good role player, but I never thought he was good enough to be the man.
Okay.
So that's where I believe he got messed up at. And
So
he like you mentioned earlier.
I just want to clarify. So Jimmy Butler, you believe to be a role player, not a superstar,
Correct.
or not even a star, a role player, not a star.
I'll
think
put
he's
him
a
under the
number two
line of a
option?
Scottie Pippen.
Okay, so you think he's a
Probably number two or number three. Probably
Okay.
number two or number three.
Okay.
Not the main man.
Okay. I
Like
roll
a
with that.
Jordan or Kobe, nothing like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know why Jimmy Butler expects to get paid extra money. He's 35.
Yeah.
That shows that some of these players are just playing for money. They're not playing for the love of the game or trying to win a championship or whatever. They're just playing for money. Because you look back in history, even in football, some of the great players, they took less so the organization can build a team to get good players for them to win. These players don't do that. They rather have the money. If I win a championship, I win one. If I don't, oh well, I got paid. So I just think the total love of the game is just gone. It's gone bye-bye. We'll never see that again.
I agree with you. For you to let money dictate, and not money, because by the way, Jimmy Butler, and I want to be clear on something, Jimmy Butler is still getting paid. So his paychecks hit the direct deposit like clockwork.
Correct.
He's just deciding that because the Miami Heat don't want to pay him for work that he hasn't completed in the future, and they're saying, hey, we're not going to extend your current contract. We would revisit a different contract for you, a lesser contract. He is acting out and saying, hey, I'm going to start throwing games. Hey, I'm going to stop giving my full effort on the court and contributing to winning basketball. That's what Jimmy Butler is doing. That's what we watched tonight. So, it's beyond, to me, just like, okay, money is dictating what you're going to do on the floor. It's like, yeah,
Correct.
you have no pride. You have no pride in your play. You don't care how fans see your performance. You don't care what this does to your teammates. What about the guy on the end of the bench that makes $500K watching you cry about, 50 versus 40?
Right. Right.
It's just
Right.
like, and again, I'm a huge proponent of players getting money, but play through your contract and leave. Go command that money at another team will pay Jimmy Butler. To me, that's not a question. And if you can't get that contract elsewhere, then what that says is you're not worth that contract. So if you can't go and command 50 some odd, million, then what that says is you need to be taking less, because that's not your value. That's not your market value. And so I'm really disappointed in Jimmy Butler for his conduct and his behavior, and the fact that, it's not just a Jimmy Butler issue, it's an NBA player issue where they believe that they're entitled to making, max dollars through the very end of their career, and they are not. They are not entitled to that.
But Dom, you know what is so crazy though? If they think about it, if a team is not gonna extend you, they'll automatically think to get something for you before your contract is over. So they're gonna trade you eventually. So why go in the press or throw games, play badly, lower your value because they're not gonna sign you? They're gonna send you somewhere eventually where you can get paid because they're gonna want to get something for you. Duh. You don't have to demand a trade like that. But I guess these young guys, they don't think.
I don't know what they're thinking. I think perhaps Jimmy Butler thinks that if he continues to embarrass the organization publicly, that they'll move on trading him faster. Like, hey, he's a cancer in the locker room. Hey, he's a cancer on the sidelines, on the bench. He's just a cancer. We need to move this contract. We need to get the culture back in our team. Like, Miami Heat have a really great culture in their locker room amongst their players. I think that it's a stain. It's a stain on the organization, on the tenure that Jimmy Butler has had, on the time. Like, you do not need to end this way. It's kind of like a breakup or even a marriage that doesn't work out. Maybe two people grow apart and basically, one party decides that, okay, this needs to end badly. This needs to end going up in flames because you don't want to be with me anymore. And the Miami Heat is not even saying they don't want to be with him. They just want to pay him less. Because paying him max dollars doesn't necessarily benefit the organization and the health of their team and them being able to contend. Imagine if Jimmy Butler took a few $1 million less, and the more, pieces they could bring to the team in order to help them contend. You want to go to a contender like the Warriors, the Rockets, the Sun. These are destinations for you when you could make your current home a better destination. Because the Warriors are not paying Jimmy Butler $50+ million. The Sun are not paying that kind of contract either. And so this is what these players do. They have a complete titty attack because their current team doesn't want to give them this max extension and all of this money. And they just get upset with the organization because they come up with all these reasons in their head. And then they go and take less money on another team anyway, like Klay Thompson. To stick it to the Warriors, he just went ahead and took, the contract that the Mavericks were giving him because he had a pride issue. Like, come on, this is your organization, this is your team, this is your splash brother next to you. Like, at what point does any of that matter? So it's just really disappointing that these players behave this way and get all in their feelings over money that they're not going to miss anyway, because they're not going to get it out there. Jimmy Butler, I think that he'll be able to, if he goes to Washington, he'll be able to get that money. You go to a team
that's
that,
what they probably send them to.
They need a star. They need somebody that's going to play hard, that they can, get 2 to 3 years out of. Why not? Right. But maybe they'll send him to Utah. Who knows? But Danny Ainge in Utah is probably not paying that.
Right.
So
Can we a little bit about that Celtics Timberwolves?
Oh, sure. What do you think about Anthony Edwards? Has his game regressed this season?
When you say regress, it's kind of hard.
Well, is
I
he
just
playing
think
better
he's
or
not
worse
playing
from
his,
last season?
he's playing worse. He's not playing his true game.
Okay.
Because it was a reason why people were saying that he reminded us of Michael Jordan. It was a reason why. You know, Michael Jordan not only shot, was good, perimeter shooter, he attacked the basket. And that's what Anthony Edwards was doing. But now this 3-point thing went to his head. He wanted to shoot more 3-pointers. But that trade, too, also hurt him, too. Because Julius Randle is another LeBron James without a winning attitude. He has to have the ball in his hands. The only thing Julius Randle don't do is pass the ball. So when you got a player like that dominating the ball, he's going to take more shots. The only really good shots you're going to get is maybe a 3. Then don't mention Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert don't have no offense. That's why I love the inside NBA. Because their brothers tell the truth.
They do tell the truth.
Because why would you get rid of an offensive player and keep a guy who can't play offense? You basically playing a 4-on-5. Because he's not a threat on offense. Defense, you get a few blocks here and now and then, but that's about it. So, yeah, but I'm happy for Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum say, okay, y'all not going to let me play in the Olympics. Y'all letting these other boys play. Every time we play any one of them boys who's on the Olympic team, I'm going to cook them.
You want to know what's
And I
interesting,
love
though,
when he-
about Jason Tatum to me is that I think that the same thing that's fueling him this season is going to be the same thing that hurts the team come the postseason. I think that Jason Tatum is going to be hyper focused on getting Eastern Conference Finals MVP if they make it, and that could be something that causes them to lose because he's so hell bent on getting the recognition and the flowers that he deserves. I mean, and look, I could be wrong about that. Perhaps he, will be mature enough to push through all of those feelings and how he was treated last season, pretty much never being in the running for an MVP. Like the NBA, the league, the media just does not respect him essentially, and they're not giving him his flowers, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change. And so, I'm happy for him the way he came out this season, but I'm wondering, and just when you take a look at the volume of shots that he's taking, is he going to take and miss bad shots come postseason because he wants to be the leader, because he wants to assert himself as a star? So I'm worried and concerned about the Celtics for that reason. That's what makes me they're a question mark to me. They're not a lock to repeat, especially not the way that the Cavs are playing. When I watch the Cavs and I watch all of the weapons that they have and I watch what they're doing, I think that they're going to make noise in the postseason. I think that they're more than just a regular season team this season. In the past, I would have said no, I don't trust them, but this season I'm seeing some ingredients that I really love, in particular their coach. And then when you take a look at Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Donovan Mitchell, the poise at which that he's playing with this season, I'm reserving some judgment on the Celtics. I want to watch them as we approach the postseason and see and truly see what they're made of. But I need to see them in the postseason this year, and I need them to repeat in order for me to believe that they're legit, in order for me to even believe in the title that they won last season, because everybody said the narrative was that their title was so easy, that it was so easy for them to win that title. And so I'm worried that, it was a fluke, that they just had a really easy run and they stomped through the East last season because they could. And this season we're seeing more competition and they folded. That's what I don't want to see. I don't want them to fold because the East is more competitive this year. So, thank you so much for your call tonight. I really appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nate. Have a wonderful day.
All
Okay.
right.
Thanks for calling.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Mm.
Okay, guys. Oh my gosh, this was such a fun stream. I love talking straight basketball with you guys. Jimmy Butler situation was it's just it seems like it's going to get a little bit more crazy. It seems like there's going to be more developments there, and it seems like he's not afraid to, come out and demand what he's looking for and talk about his level of unhappiness with the Heat. Uh Anthony Edwards, his game hopefully is going to sort of develop into something that's a little bit more watchable and more winnable for the Timberwolves. But, you know, I just hope that you guys enjoyed the stream as much as I enjoyed chatting with you all. And if you can do me a favor and hit the like button, we have over 150 people in the chat tonight with us, and we have about 97 likes. If we can get that up, jump that up to 125, 130, that would make me really, really happy. Yeah, I had so much fun. I'll be back later on tonight, and yeah, I'm really excited. I'll read a couple more comments before we end the live. What's scary about the Cavaliers is that Donovan Mitchell ain't doing that much work. Pay attention. So, absolutely. That is 1,000,000% what is scary about the Cavs. There's games that I'm watching and it feels like Donovan Mitchell isn't even there. And not that he has no presence, it's that he's playing with so much poise and so much confidence in his teammates that he doesn't need to do that much work. He doesn't need to play hero ball. Nobody on the team does because they're clicking on all cylinders. They're playing like a well-oiled machine. Donovan Mitchell is playing like the best cog in a system, and I love it. And he has stepped up. He has stepped up down the stretch and at the end of games. He has been an injection in the team when they need it, when they don't come out maybe with enough energy or they're playing a little sloppy. He does help to reset them and get them going. But you're 100% right, Derek Donnell, that Donovan Mitchell doesn't have to work too hard. They have so many weapons. And I think that that's an amazing thing for the Cavaliers. The Knicks, the Celtics, and the Cavaliers all need to play head to head against each other to fully see the actual pecking order between the three. I love that. And I can't wait to see it. And I don't think that the good teams are playing each other enough. I really don't. And I wish that that would change. Jason Tatum is not considered the undisputed best player in the NBA, and his game isn't the most aesthetically exciting to watch. That's the hurdle he's facing. I agree. And I think he's also very athletic and big. He's got this big body, this big back, and he just goes to the rim a little too soft for me. There's just moments where he's not aggressive enough in the paint. 17 3-point shots. That's how many he took tonight. What about D'Lo beating the Bucks? So I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, the Bucks are coming off of a back-to-back, not an excuse. I think that the Bucks came out. They didn't even seem like they were almost going to win that game. They didn't even seem like they were almost going to win that game. And I think that D'Angelo Russell took, just as many bad shots as he normally does. The Nets, I don't even think they played that well. Who I enjoy the most on the Nets team, I absolutely love Nick Claxton. I mean, he plays hard. He's aggressive. He gets to the rim. I really like his game a lot. Thank you so much, D Frequency. Dom, it's always nice to talk to you. You're nice. I try to be. But thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure to chat with you all. Do me a favor and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, share the stream so that other people can watch and we can increase our reach. Thank you so much. And I will see you later on this evening. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, everyone.